So this is discussion starter number 5 in 2 Corinthians chapter 3. We're looking specifically at verses 7 through 18. And last time we noticed that he was talking about the fact that instead of the letters of commendation being written on stone, he's talking about it being written on our hearts. And he was making a reference, if you will, to the Old Testament and the bringing of the Ten Commandments. He goes on with that kind of illustration and then compares the Old Covenant to the New Covenant as he starts out in verse 7. Now, if the ministry that brought death, which was engraved in letters of stone, came with glory, so that the Israelites could not steadily look at the face of Moses because of its glory, fading though it was, will not the ministry of the Spirit be even more glorious? The ministry that condemns men is glorious. How much more glorious is the ministry that brings righteousness? And I want you to think about the fact that so many times we live out of where our heart is, where our passion is, what has been transpiring in our life. Maybe that's common events, current events. I had my daughter was giving an illustration of something going on in her life, and of course she's adopted. So I said, well, it must be in your DNA. And she said, well, it's not, probably nurture rather than nature. So she acknowledged it was something that she learned growing up. How much more, then, should we as Christians who have experienced new life in Jesus Christ be bringing glory to Him? One of the things that is going on in my life in the midst of this sojourn is the reality that, well, life isn't all that fun, but even in the midst of this, giving God the glory is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's harder. How about you? As you approach the day today, and as you maybe be finishing up your day, how did you glorify Jesus today? Was it more reflective of an old covenant where you kept the law in your life? You did what was right and you didn't do what was wrong. You kept the letter that way, but in one way or another you forgot to live out the fact that Jesus Christ died for you on a cross for new life. That's been the challenge in my life, is to live into each day, even though it's 11 degrees below zero, and live the warmth of Jesus Christ into the day. Now, you might be listening to this in the middle of summer. Are you living Christ in the midst of that moment? He ends up by saying, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And we who with unveiled faces all reflect the Lord's glory are being transformed into His likeness with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord who is the Spirit. To me, there's a challenge in the middle of that. How do we as Christians live gloriously each and every day? That's something we need to think about.